The Channel 4 Dispatches program called Undercover Mosque, The Return, and the infiltration or control of the main London mosque by an extreme and Saudi Arabian Wahhabism, which appeared to show a doctrine of bigotry against Jews, Christians, indeed the great British public.
Last year, Dispatches revealed a message of hatred and intolerance in some of Britain's most mainstream mosques.
We Muslims have been ordered to do brainwashing.
The pinnacle, the crest, the summit of Islam is jihad.
The one who changed his deen, what he's going to do? Kill.
The last day will not come until the Muslims fight the Jews and kill them.
Now, David Henshaw of Dispatches, welcome to The Real Deal. Earlier I mentioned my concerns that your undercover style in this undercover mosque program was in danger of being seen by Muslims, already a beleaguered community, as being just another piece of the open season against them as a whole. What would you say to that?
Well, I think the violence was in the language of what was being said. I mean,
have you read the Old Testament recently? There's quite a bit of violence in that.
There's quite a bit of violence in the Old Testament, and I'd be just as willing to go and film undercover in a church or a synagogue.
Well, would you, David? I wonder about that.
If I can just reply, if I had any evidence at all that a rabbi or a Christian vicar was arguing for the killing of homosexuals simply because they're homosexuals, or the stoning of adulterers, we'd get our cameras in as quickly as possible. These are very, very violent pronouncements, and it was very important to get the hard evidence that they were being repeatedly put forward on camera. Having got them on camera, having put the film together, we then approached everyone we'd filmed and said, all right, let's hear your response. Let's hear your side of the argument. Some of them responded, some of them didn't. Those who did respond, we included their responses in the program.
Yes, but I mean, the mere reading of the Old Testament would be to make a pronouncement about the impermissibility of homosexuality, for example.
When did you last hear a vicar calling for the stoning of adulterers? When did you last hear a vicar calling for homosexuals to be killed because they're homosexuals?
Anyone who read out the Old Testament...
When have you heard a vicar calling for it?
The Old Testament says it, that's the point.
When have you heard a vicar calling for it?
You've said that 5 times.
But you haven't answered me yet.
Well, let me develop...
This is turning to Howard versus Paxson.
You
haven't answered me, George.
Let me develop my answer.
These were women calling for killing of homosexuals.
No, well, were they calling for killing, or were they referring to a text?
Did you read the script?
A remarkably similar text. I watched the program twice.
Okay.
A remarkably similar, listen to me, a remarkably similar text to that you would find in the Old Testament. The same attitude to gay people exists in the Old Testament as exists in the text that these women were referring to.
To look at the program and read the script. We have Ulma Mira, a preacher in the women's circle at Regent's Park.
Well, you tell us she's a preacher. She was speaking, that's true.
The one who changes his religion, what are we going to do? We kill him, kill.
That's what the text says. The point I'm making
is
that you only filmed it because it was Muslims. And you've confirmed it with your attitude in this interview today. It's Islam that you've got a problem with. It's Muslims that you've got a problem with. You don't hunt the Christian bigots in the same way. You don't hunt the Zionist Jewish bigots in the same way.
And can I ask you for the 6th time, when did you last hear a vicar calling for the stoning of homosexuals?
I don't myself go around listening for either vicars or rabbis.
Well, here's a challenge,
What I do know...
Here's a challenge,
George. I do know is
you find me a rabbi or a vicar who's calling for the killing of homosexuals because they're homosexuals, or the killing of apostates because they've left Christianity.
Well, you don't know.
We'll go and film them.
But why don't
There's
you go?
The challenge.
Why don't you
There's the challenge.
Well, don't shout at me.
There's the challenge, George.
Please stop shouting at me and answer this. You don't go out looking.
Well, if you stop talking, I might be able to answer you.
You don't go out looking for the others. You do go looking for the Muslims. That's my point.
Did you watch the dispatches on born-again Christians?
Your conduct.
Did you watch the dispatches on born-again Christians 2 months ago?
Your conduct.
Did you?
Your conduct.
Did you?
In this interview
Did you?
It speaks volumes about the aggression.
George, you don't answer my questions.
I'm asking the questions.
But you don't answer
You're
mine.
doing the answering.
You don't answer mine.
Look, you're the interviewee. Maybe after all your lifetime in television, you haven't learned something.
You talk a great deal, but you don't answer my questions.
I am interviewing you. You're the one who has to answer my questions. Now, this is my point to you. You have a problem with Muslims. Channel 4 does, Dispatches does, so-called investigative journalists do. You don't go out infiltrating Jewish organizations.
Tell me the ones to infiltrate.
Well, why do you need me to tell you? You know that
George,
the Old Testament has the same attitude
George,
to homosexuals.
Let me ask you for the 8th time.
Texts.
Tell me, last time you heard a Christian vicar arguing for the stoning of homosexuals
All right,
or apostate.
You're only interested in a camera up the jumper to try and trap somebody you tell us is a preacher in the Regent's Park Mosque, and your whole performance in this interview, if I can glorify it by describing it as an interview, has been ample evidence of that.
Let me ask you for the 9th time. When did you last hear a Christian vicar calling for the stoning of homosexuals?
Actually, we've run out of time to listen to your questions. In this case, you're even kicking Muslim women. I don't think much of men that beat up on women and don't give them a proper opportunity to reply, which is why I don't think much of you, which is why I'm pretty glad it's time for the end of this discussion.
George, you're a very fair man. Thank you. You're a very fair man.
Well, the sincerity and the integrity of the Dispatches program can be measured by the performance of this individual who is here. This individual, a representative of British television. Quite extraordinary. I'll be back shortly to look at the worst terrorist atrocity to hit Britain. This hooligan will have to be thrown out of this studio if he doesn't stop shouting at me from the wings.
At you, George,
well, we'll see what the viewers think when they